Yes, the Victorian Saloon Cars always show plenty of action, and certainly at Sandown Motor Raceway as well. They are going to be out in just a couple of moments' time. The Hyundai XL is just being loaded onto the tilt tray, so we'll not be too far away from the action, as I say. I'm Dan McCarthy. Alongside me for the first saloon car race of the weekend is Emma Dean. Great to have you alongside me.
Thanks, Dan. Great to be here. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a beautiful day for racing.
I can't believe how nice it is. The weather forecast for this weekend is meant to be terrible. And
last
Melbourne
night was terrible.
Yes.
Tomorrow doesn't look too flash, but today's fantastic. I think we've got a UV in the 5s. It's great.
There it is, the backdrop of the historic Sandown Raceway. You can see the pit garages, and then all of the cars behind that are parked under tents and all sorts. And yeah, a huge field in all of the categories. Looking forward to today's racing action. This is the grid for the saloon cars. A familiar name on pole position 12 months ago when the Saloon Car Nationals were held here. Brad Vaughan, the current Tickford Super 2 driver, took the victory and is the reigning national champion. He's not driven in the Victorian Championship since, but he returns with the Harris Racing Holden and has put it on pole position by a comfortable margin over Travis Lindorf in the number 51 Holden Commodore. The reigning champion, Daniel Johnson, he's had a couple of retirements in the last couple of rounds, but he's starting off nicely this weekend from position number 3, alongside the current championship leader, Karen Pridmore, in the number 66 Commodore. Beyond that, we have Adam Lowndes and Kane Baxter-Smith. Watch for those two. They would have liked to have qualified a little bit further forwards. And then our most recent round winner, Jacob Prestopino, nearly clean swept, took 2 out of the 3. Watch for the youngster. Always hangs the number 99 Commodore sideways. He's always one to watch. And then a South Australian, David Lyons, out of position number 8. Beyond that, we have Kerry Bright, who had an incident in qualifying, caused a red flag. No damage, though. He was able to get back out there and qualified in position number 9. Alongside him is Blake Harris in his AU Falcon. He's just ahead of Justin Shembry and James Jeske on row number 6. Beyond that, Andrew Martin is subbing in place of Tony Ordino. Tony Ordino is here this weekend, but he's racing in the sports sedans, the national sports sedans here this weekend. They're not too far away, actually, so he'll be out in that. So Andrew Martin steps into the number 4 AU Falcon. He'll start alongside Brett Tate. Beyond that, we've got Keegan Gaunt and Chris Jackson, and then Sean Jamison didn't set a time in qualifying. He's always a front runner. If that car has been repaired, look for him to march through the field. But that's a bit of a question mark whether or not the 18 would be repaired in time for this session. What a great field, Emma, of cars this weekend. Such high quality racing in saloon cars and such a good field.
Dan, I agree. I couldn't tell you. I love this category, but I don't know how intelligent I'm going to sound because it's so exciting. It's nose to tail, and not much comes out of my mouth. It's just really good racing. Really, really, really good. Really competitive group. We have Kane Baxter-Smith. Love the elbows out when he gets going. Love the battles that he gets into. So I can't wait to see what's going to unfold. Yeah,
if you've not seen saloon car racing before, it is wheel to wheel, door banging, entertaining racing, and they always deliver, particularly here at Sandown Motor Raceway. We've got a huge field and a huge quality of drivers. This is set to be an absolute cracker. So yes, as you can see, the cars are coming to the end now of their warm-up lap. And you can see there, just on the inside, the curb that's now used as a sort of recovery area. But back in the day, in the 80s, that was the little add-on that went around the inside of the Sandown course. Just so much history around this place, a circuit that's been used since the 60s. So there's so much history around this layout, right in the heart of the suburbs in Melbourne. And of course, it circles around the outside of a horse racing circuit, a bit like Pukekohe over in New Zealand, the now defunct Pukekohe Park, of course. A real shame that that circuit is closed in recent times, and we are very privileged that we are still racing here at the historical Sandown circuit as the cars come onto the pit straight to find their grid positions. Who's your tip for this one? Who do you reckon?
I do have a soft spot for Baxter-Smith. I do. But I've been told in my little journeys down in the garages that Prestipino is the one to watch. Although from qualifying, Brad had it.
He
had it over
did.
everyone by about a second and a half. So who knows? I think it could almost be any of those guys.
Yeah, such quality in the front couple of rows. As we say, the reigning Nationals champion in Vaughan. Alongside him is a former Victorian champion, Travis Lindorf. The reigning champ, number 1, the yellow machine. In 3rd position alongside him is the championship leader. So very good quality in the top 2 rows. We're awaiting the 5-second board as the final couple of cars come into position. And we are underway. A brilliant start by Lindorf. He's got that thing hooked up straight away. Vaughan bogged down ever so slightly. And it's going to allow Johnson to have a look up the inside on the run down towards turn number 1. Lindorf's going to lead them down there, but it lost a wheel further back. I'm not quite sure who that is from here, but we have lost a wheel down there. That's happened so early on, and it's going to make it down to turn 1, unfortunately, before the car.
That's not ideal.
No, that is far from ideal. It's strange that it's happened. They must have changed wheels between qualifying and the race. That's the only reason that could happen. But Johnson has made his way past Vaughan, so Vaughan falls from 1st to 3rd, and in fact he's bogged down on the exit of turn 4. I think there's a problem with the Commodore. He's trying to find a gear. I think he's got a box of neutrals. That thing is rolling to a halt. So Brad Vaughan's machine, he took pole by over a second, but his race is going to come to a halt, a grinding halt on the back straight. What a shame for Brad Vaughan. That means that the rest of the field move up 1 position, but out front it's Lindorf from Johnson. Blake Harris on the tail of Kerry Bright. They're both pushing hard, using all the road on the outside. Here comes Baxter Smith up the inside of Pridmore. That is mighty, mighty close. This is what we love, isn't it, in saloon cars?
Not disappointing. Elbows out in the first lap. I'm loving it.
Safety car has been called, and there's several cars scattered around the race circuit on the opening lap of this one. So quite an unusual start there. Oh, it looks like Vaughan's got the machine back going, and I'm trying to listen in. He's going to try and catch up to the back of the field, or is he going to bring it in the lane? Nevertheless, the pole sitter is out of race victory contention in this one, unfortunately. But what a lap it was in qualifying. It's the qualifying lap record. People are saying it was the lap record, but the qualifying lap record for Brad Vaughan, it was a phenomenal lap, taking pole by over a second, but unfortunately some gremlin has occurred on lap number 1, and he's bringing it in the lane.
They're not disappointing, Dan. The nose to tail already in lap 1, and we've got a rogue donut that brings out the safety car.
Indeed, and there is the stationary Coke-sponsored machine of Whitehead. That is not how he would have wanted to start his weekend. Didn't set a lap time in qualifying, and it looks like in the rush to get it out there for the race, the wheel has not been fitted correctly. Look right at the back, the red car right in the middle of the shot, right at the very back, just driving along all by himself quite slowly already at this point, and then the wheel is about to depart. There it goes. That is very strange. You sometimes see that at high load, but to happen in the middle of a straight just meters into the race, that is quite unique. But they all got through turn 1 okay, except for Whitehead. But look at how far that wheel went. It's trying to compete by itself.
Well, it's racing.
It certainly is. It knows what it's doing, that's for sure. Although it's missed the apex there, it's gone off. It's through the gravel trap. And unfortunately, its race comes to a halt. It did about 500 metres more than the car. As Kev the Towie, who is sponsoring the race weekend, we've got to thank them for helping us get the coverage on Blendline TV. Kev the Towie is a local tilt tray operator who picks up scrap cars and metal to transport anything you need. His motto is just get it done. Make sure you follow him on Instagram and Facebook. The motto being just get it done. That's exactly what he's doing now. He's getting the job done and allowing us to hopefully get back to green flag racing as quickly as we possibly can. But you know, people talk about the rivalry between Holden and Ford, and these days, of course, in supercars, it's Ford and Chevrolet now, but this is old school, Holden and Ford, and look at that, got 2 Fords, 2 Holdens right at the front.
Well, Dan, I'm an SA native. I'm an Adelaide native. I don't admit that much. And when we came to Melbourne, I was certainly very aware of the Holden-Ford rivalry. So grew up watching Bathurst, grew up with supercars, grew up near Elizabeth. Don't know whether that's fortunately or not, but very much a fan. It's got a soft spot in my heart, this category. So I'm loving watching this.
Well, I'm an SA native as well, so for me, growing up with the Adelaide
good.
500, and always when they got the crowd to cheer Ford or Holden, there was always a lot more for Holden in South Australia. But it's a little more even in Victoria, of course, with the Ford factory at Geelong for so many years. As it's a bit more of a 50-50 split than what it is in South Australia. Already, the volunteer marshals and officials are out there hard at work, and we've got to thank everyone, not just the track marshals and the safety car drivers and everybody, but the people working in race control and behind the scenes that don't quite get the attention they deserve. Everybody has made this event possible, all of those volunteer officials. If you're interested in becoming a volunteer official, visit motorsport.org.au/officials. Can't get much closer to the action than actually being here, talking to the drivers, holding up the safety car board, etc. Look at that for a spot. Me and Callum Brannigan were lucky enough several years ago now during a Formula Ford race to stand there for just the one race. It was incredible, the speed they came down the hill towards Dandenong Road. It was a remarkable spot to watch from.
Marshalling was actually my intro to racing as well, but it was in rally and it was in the forests.
As we see them weaving to get tyre temperature. That's always been the case in saloon cars. You want to make sure you keep the heat in the rubber so you are ready to go as soon as we get back to green flag racing.
You know, Dan, as you were talking about becoming a volunteer and how easy that is down here and throughout the racing calendar, similarly, this category is actually considered a really great kind of entry level or a really good starter. It's, in terms of racing, a lot of it is expensive, but this is a really good category to get into. The outlay initially isn't that high, and most of the cars are maintained by the drivers or a small team themselves. You don't need the big truck, you don't need the huge team, all the mechanics in tow, and they generally are as close as a racing car can get to coming out of the factory as they were. So there might be some changes in the gearbox, there might be some changes in other little tweaks, but they're a 6-cylinder, and they were a, race on Sunday, drive to work on Monday, typical, Ford and Holden. The guys down there, some of the guys run these cars on whiffs, and some have lots to throw at it, but if you're interested in getting into racing at this level, it's a great entry-level category.
What's great is that there's battles all the way through the field. The front runners that really take this seriously all the way through the field towards the tail end. And we do have some old school machines further back with the likes of the EA Falcons and the like. So they've got their own class. And that's what those faded colours are on the totem pole in 14th and 15th. They're in a older spec class. But we are about to go back to green flag racing. Travis Lindorff leads the way from the reigning Victorian champion, Daniel Johnson. It's Holden Ford and then Holden Ford behind that, with the championship leader Karen Pridmore ahead of Kane Baxter Smith. Look out for Adam Lowndes as well in position number 5. We are set, and Lindorff puts the hammer down on the exit of the final corner. Has pulled a car with a nice restart for Lindorff, and it looks like Pridmore has gone with Daniel Johnson, but they stay single file down the pit straight so far. Nobody's got an incredible run. A little bit further back, looks like Harris is up the inside, or is he defending from Martin? No, I think he's defending from Martin. Oh, Baxter Smith squeezes to the inside, gets crushed up over the curb, but catches it. He had a huge look there at Karen Pridmore, but Pridmore closed the door. He wasn't allowing that move to occur on the restart, but great clean race in between those two to not make any contact down at turn 1.
Loved that. That was ballsy.
Certainly was, but couldn't quite make it stick that time, and it's actually cost Baxter Smith a bit of time. And now he's going to be looking in the rear vision mirror because Adam Lowndes is on his tail as they head up the hill towards the very fast sweeping left-hander before they head down the hill at down towards Dandenong Road. Or Baxter Smith, a little kick of oversteer again. Here comes Jacob Prestopino on the back of South Australian David Lines. Lines locks up ever so slightly. Oh, there's a bit of contact there. But they get away with it, just the slightest of slight nudges.
Did they swap bits or just kiss?
Just a kiss, I think. And they are able to play on, which is good news for everyone involved. But Prestopino always on the attack. He's got a great run out the final corner. He's going to look there. You could just see a little bit of bodywork's just come dislodged on the tail of Lines there. And he's going to have a look surely to the inside down at turn number 1. Third gear corner in these saloon cars. It's not quite as slow as you might think. And as a result, Prestopino doesn't send it up the inside this time. Lines understeers wide, 4 wheels over the outside of the curb. And through goes Jacob Prestopino. I wouldn't call that an unforced error. I think that was a forced error. Felt the pressure.
He's living up to what I was told he would show this weekend. I'm liking watching Jacob. I think he started in karts, didn't he, Dan?
I believe so, yes.
You can see that.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, the number 4 machine slow at the very back of the shot.
Andrew Martin.
That's not sure what's happened there, but up the front of the field, Daniel Johnson is on the tail of Travis Lindorf. Last year, Daniel Johnson won the championship, but he did not take a single race victory. So he's on a bit of a victory drought. He won the series with sheer pace and consistency, and really deserved a victory in there. And he was right in there for victories on multiple occasions, but it never quite happened for him. This is a good opportunity for him here today. He is right on the tail of Travis Lindorf, and Kieran Pridmore is going with them as well. But time's ticking. Because of that safety car, we only have 2 minutes left. Oh, that's hit the wall. Look, it's lost the right mirror.
Of Andrew Martin.
Yes.
Jeez, yeah, there was contact. Ooh, a bit of contact there, yeah, and he's got a nasty puncture.
I think that's like, big lock-up for DJ. Can he get it stopped down there? Oh, he's nearly hit the tail of Travis Lindorf. He had a big look for the lead. He's run wide, 4 wheels through the grass, and he's going to lose positions. He falls down to 4th. He may even fall back behind Adam Lowndes as well. I'm not sure if that's commentator's curse there. I was saying he's in with a great opportunity of taking the win, and he went for it. He wasn't going to go down without a fight. He went for it. It just didn't pay off.
That's the kind of manoeuvre that renders me speechless. I just hold on tight.
No, absolutely. I think we all do. Absolutely. As they head up the hill, Baxter Smith's going to have a look. But yes, DJ, just huge lockup. Couldn't get it stopped. Takes the tour of the grass. It comes back on safely. And we see that Baxter Smith has made it stick on Pridmore. So it's all shuffled around on this lap. DJ and Pridmore have gone backwards. Baxter Smith has picked up not 1, but now 2 places on this lap. So Baxter Smith now the leading Ford in position number 2. But all this has allowed Lindorf to pull quite a considerable margin.
It has. I mean, it's almost like there's a magnet between the back and the front of all these cars. They're that close coming around the back of Dandenong.
So here is what happened on the back straight. We just saw Baxter Smith pull out as we saw the number 4 car hit the wall, and just nice and easy, had great run. Oh, had a big kick of oversteer mid-corner. Nicely kept that in line, and was able to successfully make that move. That's one of the great things about Baxter Smith. He's saying what a great driver he is. He drives the car right on the ragged edge, and you can tell just the way that car was sliding.
He's not just aggressive for a lack of talent. He's actually aggressive with a lot of talent and great positioning. He's got great track position. He's just not afraid of touching bumpers and panels and all that kind of stuff. He'll take your mirror off. Yes. I love it. I love this kind of racing. Another former champion in this series. As the time has ticked to 0. We have 2 laps remaining. This and 1 more. DJ certainly has the pace. He made that mistake at turn 1 and dropped back to 4th, but he's back there. He's already harassing the tail now of Kieran Pridmore, although Pridmore was lock up further forwards. I'll come back to that point in a minute. Baxter Smith, a huge lock up down there at Dandenong Road. The point I was going to make is Daniel Johnson was visibly close to Kieran Pridmore, but Pridmore
you could visibly see gapped him over the top of this hill and down into Dandenong Road corner.
In that last shot, we've got Lowndes all over the back of DJ as well. This is so close, like at every point. There's a race everywhere in this. There's about 5 races in this.
Here we go. We're 2 wide. We could even be 3 wide. Baxter Smith slowing. Has he got a puncture? I think that huge lockup has caused a right front puncture. It looks low on the right front. So this is back on now for second. DJ up the inside of Pridmore. They're side by side over the curb at turn number 1. Pridmore's going to stick it back up the inside himself at turn 2. He retaliates and reclaims that position. Lowndes is watching on. If these two make contact, run wide, he's there to pick up the pieces. Pridmore's got a little bit of smoke on the exit of the corner, but look at the 51. He is gone. Jeez. 3.5 seconds down the road as these guys scrap for position number 2. And Prestipino with the headlights on is coming into this. The number 85 number 96 is on the outside there, the back marker. Could he play a factor? Pridmore holds on to position number 2, but they are going to catch Jackson before the end of this lap. Will the old school Falcon play a factor in these closing corners? Here comes Prestipino, a late move up the inside of Adam Lowndes, but he's got that stopped. A brilliant manoeuvre.
Adam's holding on.
They're side by side out of the corner. Oh, there's the lap traffic that I was just referring to. And somebody's just run off the road. I think further back it was Lyons. It's all happening in this Saloon Cars race. Lowndes is going to hold on, but out front, Lindorf takes the race victory. Pridmore holds on to take second ahead of Daniel Johnson. And then beyond that is Adam Lowndes, Jacob Prestipino, and how far back is Kane Baxter Smith going to fall? We saw he had a puncture at the start of the final lap. It's still on. Further back, Blake Harris up the inside now of the 45 of Bright. Not going to have the exit, unfortunately. He had the right idea. It's going to be a bit of a drag race, but I think he's going to come up just short. He is, unfortunately. The margin just 1/10.5 as they cross the line. Shembry rounds out the top 10 ahead of Brett Tate, and here is Baxter Smith. He's going to come across the line. He's going to score some championship points, but unfortunately, he might lose another one, will he? No, he's just going to hold on to position number 12, but what a shame. Started the final lap in second, but at least he got some points.
We did talk about the aggressive driving, and this is one of the downsides to aggressive driving.
Yes.
You know, it is supposed to be a gentleman's sport, but this isn't. Like, let's face it. He's got the elbows out, he plays aggressive, and that's what can happen. But look, that top 5, not for a lack of talent.
No. Racing drivers aren't designed to come second.
No. Like racehorses, pretty similar.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. So there are the results in that one then. Travis Lindorf taking the win by 4.5 seconds in the end. Let's not think with 3 laps to go, he was under immense pressure from those behind. But in the end, 4.5 seconds ahead of Kevin Pridmore. Daniel Johnson just 0.3 back. Then we had Adam Lowndes, who held off Prestipino in the final couple of corners. A big gap back to David Lyons. And then as we scroll through, we see Brett Tate in 11th. Ford Holden. They were all changing positions up the pointy end of the field. But as I said, Travis Lindorf took the race victory in the end, beating the championship leader, Karen Pridmore, by, in the end, I think it was 5 seconds. Daniel Johnson will come out of position number 3, first of the Fords, alongside Adam Lowndes, who qualified a little bit further back than what he'd have liked, but he marched forwards and came home in 4th. And Jacob Prestipino was another one who was very, very quick late in the race yesterday and caught up with that fight for second. So watch for young Prestipino out of 5th. He'll start alongside South Australian visitor David Lyons in number 24. James Jeske got his best ever result yesterday in position 7. He will start alongside Kerry Bright. Beyond that, Blake Harris and Justin Shembry, Brett Tate and Kane Baxter Smith. I'll talk a bit more about Baxter Smith as the race goes on, but he had a interesting race yesterday. We saw him cross the line with a delaminated tyre. Keegan Gaunt will start from 13th alongside Chris Jackson. They are in the older model machine, so they've got their own class battle, the 94 and the 96. They'll start ahead of Andrew Martin, who clipped the wall at turn number 3 yesterday due to a delaminated tyre. And as we say, Brad Vaughan will come out of 16th, the national champion. Look out for that particular machine, that Commodore. David Whitehead lost a wheel on the run to turn number 1 yesterday in the VN Commodore, and Sean Jamieson will be a non-starter, unfortunately, in this one. In fact, I didn't see Whitehead either. I saw they were busy working away at that this morning, but it looks like they have not been able to get that machine out for this particular race. So that's a shame for Whitehead, but nevertheless, still 16 strong cars out there on the race circuit on this Sandown morning. And what a morning it is. We're expecting maybe some showers later on, but at this point, you just show me the radar. We're looking all right.
We're looking okay. It's in New South Wales. They can have it. I'm just so entertained by this warm-up lap. I love seeing these guys trying to get their tyres up to temp. I have seen it go wrong when the weaving goes really wrong. But coming onto the grid, getting temperature into those tyres, into the brakes as well, is really critical, because they've really only got 20 minutes of racing. They've got a minute and a bit to get those brakes and tyres up to temp, because then they cool down slightly while they're sitting on the grid, so that they have to do their best job, so that they've got a little bit of stick when they get going.
There's two techniques, the weaving from side to side and the accelerating and braking as well. And I saw DJ in the yellow Falcon there, locking up, coming out of Dandenong Road, putting temperature into the brakes. So that's not what you want to do. Going back to Kane Baxter Smith, starting from position number 12. It was a lock-up yesterday. He lost a bit of rear brakes, and basically all the braking was being done by the fronts, and that meant he had that huge lock-up down at Dandenong Road, gave him an instant puncture, and limped across the line in position number 12. So Kane Baxter Smith will be one to watch, sitting in a comfortable second when that happened yesterday. So watch for the 56 and Brad Vaughan, both to charge through the field in this one. As the cars are all lined up, we've got a green flag at the back. You can see the marshal running behind the fence. We're about to go racing. Lights are on and off. We are underway. Great launch from Lindorf. Pridmore bogged down slightly, and Lowndes and Johnson a pretty even start. They're going to go either side of Pridmore down towards turn number 1, although the change into second gear wasn't quite so strong for Johnson in the Falcon. But nevertheless, I think he might try up the inside of Pridmore. No, not quite able to do so. Lowndes takes third from the Falcon, and Jacob Prestipino, a strong starter and aggressive up the inside already. In 5th position. Baxter Smith's already up to 6th. Incredible start. He said to me, oh, I'll probably be in the top 5 by turn 2, jokingly. He's not far off, though. He's in 6th position. Awesome start by Kane Baxter Smith.
That start was everything for Travis Lindorf. That's given him everything. That was brilliant. Super sticky, super great start, and it's done him well for this first lap.
Johnson going on the defensive from Jacob Prestipino. Prestipino is always aggressive, always sliding the car. He had a think about going around the outside there, but thought better of it, as there's a big lockup a little bit further back, just behind Kane Baxter Smith, but I think they've all got through. And look at this as well. Brad Vaughan is up the inside of fellow South Australian David Lyons, so they're fighting for South Australian. Oh, right on the outside, Jacob Prestipino. How'd you like that? And then he squeezes DJ onto the grass on the exit. DJ just keeps it off the tyre wall there. DJ's going to be a bit frustrated about that one, I think. But that was good, hard racing between those two as they came onto the pit straight. Prestipino went around the outside at the penultimate corner and had the inside for the last one. But the compromise line has allowed Baxter Smith through as he backs it in sideways. Prestipino, awesome bit of car control. He did lose the place to Baxter Smith, but that was car control at its absolute finest. Oh,
DJ's going to need a strong cup of tea after that one. Oh, wow. I couldn't speak for those 2 seconds.
It was mighty close with the wet grass or dewy grass. I thought he was heading towards the tyre wall at one point, but fortunately not, as he looked a little bit further back through the field. Jeski continuing to sit just behind that leading group in the number 91 Falcon. And Bright defending from young Blake Harris as they go up the hill. Just the one Harris this weekend. We sometimes see three of them, the two brothers and the father in Nash. Nash, the president of the Saloon Cars Association, but he's not racing this weekend. He was busy preparing the car that is being driven by Brad Vaughan, so sitting out this weekend. Did a lot of prep leading in to get that car driven by Brad Vaughan out there on the racetrack instead.
So Dan, with this race now, what's up for grabs in terms of points and who needs what?
So at the moment, Pridmore is leading the series. His closest rivals in the title fight are right around him. One's ahead of him in Lindorf and one is behind him in Adam Lowndes. So it's the top three in the championship, not necessarily in that order, but the top three are in the top three positions, as DJ is recovering from the off last lap and has overtaken Lines for 7th down there into turn number 1. As he turns around turn number 4, it's quite a tight technical section, that first sector.
I know it very well. I've tried not to kiss that wall a million times. It is very tight. Sandown is, being an older track, it's got some great turns, great twists, but it is quite narrow. So turn 1, 2, 3, yeah, you really either have to have a cup of concrete or back off.
These two are the most aggressive drivers in this category. Jacob Prestipino coming under pressure from Super 2 driver Brad Vaughan, racing for Tickford in the second tier Supercars Championship, and he's having a look to the inside, thinks about it. Gets about half a car up the inside. It forces Prestipino to take a compromise line into the final corner. And that is how Vaughan has got the momentum out of the corner. Got the side draft now as they roar down towards turn number 1. I think he has made that move as they head down such a long straight towards turn number 1. Under brakes, Vaughan is later on them. And he has taken that position, uses the curb on the inside. And Prestipino now forcing Vaughan to defend, but Vaughan wise to that one, holds on, takes the place. Oh, big sideways moment for Vaughan, all crossed up. 2 wheels over the curb at 2, 3, and slung it out sideways out of 4. He does a bit of speedway driving in his spare time, does Brad Vaughan, and it's coming into great effect at the moment. He's swinging that around like it is a speedway machine.
Told you, cup of concrete. I love the slight slanted noses on both the Fords and the Holdens because they just have that little bit of edge when they're doing the kissing on the rear bumper, just to give you enough lift and say, get out of my way.
Well, Prestipino taking the escape road there, the runoff, straight lining it down towards Dandenong Road. But despite that, let's have a look. So uses 2 wheels, big air at turn 2, even bigger air on the exit of 3, throws him out sideways. All 2 wheels, the rear wheels off on the curb out wide at 3, 4. Oh, crikey. What a bit of car control. That is why he is going to be on the Bathurst 1000 grid as a wild card later on this year alongside Matt Charter. Brilliant car control from the young South Australian, the reigning Saloon Cars champion. Won here 12 months ago. And what a weekend that was. We had West Australians come over. We had quite a few South Australians. There was 40 cars at the start of the weekend. It was unbelievable. But it was this man that prevailed. He had the better of them all and took the victory. After that DNF, though, in race number 1, he is playing catch-up. But what a great job so far in this race. He is up to position number 5. Fastest lap of the race. Last time through, a 1 minute 24.6. Kane Baxter Smith is next in his sights, but Baxter Smith himself is moving through the field from 12th position. Lindorf's out front by a second over Karen Pridmore, and then there's a bit of a gap back to Adam Lowndes in position number 3. On the backstretch, though, here comes Bright having a look at Jeske. Going to go up the inside? No, not quite far enough there. Jeske closing the door. And these two fighting for position number 9. As I say, for the 91 yesterday, position number 7 was a PB, personal best result for the Falcon driver.
There's certainly no lack of talent in the top 6 here, Dan, and honestly, for the uninitiated for this class, it might look like these guys are just banging it around a track and going over the strips. They're made to eat those strips and the chicanes, but it is so precise. It can go horribly, horribly wrong. Just 5-10 mil out, and it can go really wrong and your rear end's in the wall, but it's the talent in this category is fantastic.
Certainly is. Oh, more sideways action from Brad Vaughan. He's a driving highlights reel at the moment as they head up the back chute. He's got a lovely run on the former champion in Kane Baxter Smith. Baxter Smith, though, is showing exactly what he wants to do. He's defending that inside line like Mark Dutton in Tasmania last weekend. Great move from Vaughan around the outside. Superb stuff. Baxter Smith made his intentions clear. I'm defending this move. Vaughan goes, no problem, I'll go around the outside. This is a replay of turn number 1. Karen Pridmore, the championship leader, gets all crossed up. 4 wheels through the grass there. That was a hairy moment, but a fantastic recovery.
Oh, it's too close to call. Yeah, Baxter Smith wasn't a match for the pace of Vaughan at the moment, but that aggressive driving by Baxter Smith, I'm a fan of.
Absolutely. So Bright is now trying to get clear of Jeske. Harris is closing in on the 2 of them. Harris has had a difficult weekend, really. Just the car not quite how he wants it, he was saying yesterday. But it looks like as the weekend's progressing, he's finding a bit more speed. And he's coming into this fight. This is a replay of Bright. Oh, that was very hairy, very, very sideways under brakes, but he made it stick. I didn't quite spy that the first time through, but that was so sideways. It was almost at a 90-degree angle.
He banked on the dive. Good on him. Good commitment.
Speaking of commitment, Vaughan's on the tail of Lowndes.
Oh, look at this.
Where can he make a move? Is he going to try a lunge up the inside at Dandenong Road corner? Lowndes is defending that one, but he's used too much curb on the inside. That has been done by many people in the past, trying to defend the move, taking the shallow line. Where the old layout used to rejoin, he's clipped the curb, and it's forced him to lock up. But again, Vaughan around the outside at the penultimate corner. This is possibly the drive of the season. Brilliant recovery drive from Pestipino in Phillip Island. That was probably the drive of the season at that point, but this from Vaughan is unbelievable.
It's a man on a mission.
Certainly is, but he's defending the inside groove because Lowndes got a great run out the final corner and can't quite make it stick there, Lowndes. And in fact, I think Vaughan is having as much as a look in front as he was in the mirrors. Again, gets all crossed up. We can see him working at the wheel through the corner, turn 3, while the car's 2 wheels in the air. You can see him playing with the steering, trying to get the best line out of the corner. But Karen Pridmore, what's he going to do? Is he going to fight hard for second, or is he going to think championship at this point in time? Of course, Vaughan is not a title contender. He's in for this round only. This is the first round he has done this season. And again, around the outside, he just makes it look so easy. I can't tell you how difficult it is, but again, that is just remarkable.
Having 3 cars this close to each other, and Lowndes isn't giving anything away, and Pridmore didn't give that to Vaughan. He had to surrender. So, but being in the middle, as Pridmore is right now, trying to get in front or get up and put the pressure onto Vaughan is your first job, but you've also got Lowndes in your rear.
Oh, that was a mistake that time from Vaughan. It's a bit too crossed up around the final corner. Nearly went off the road. That has absolutely killed his exit speed. So watch now, the 66 of Karen Pridmore has got all the momentum, all the speed he could ever want compared to the Commodore ahead, but he can't do anything with it. Stays in line and holds on to that 3rd position. I was saying, will Pridmore fight it, or will he think championship? It's only round 4. There's still a few rounds to go. It's too early to think championship, but Vaughan really didn't give him a choice anyway. He just sent it around the outside.
No, and if I was Pridmore, I'd just keep the pressure on, keep the pressure on, keep the pressure on. Eventually Vaughan could make a mistake. I won't say will, but I'd say Pridmore's position is probably the best to be in right now.
Yeah. Absolutely. Third position on the road. Well, the best position, let's be honest, is the one leading, Travis Lindorf, by 3.7 seconds. Yes.
Yeah, that is the best.
Yes, it's been another great drive from the number 51 machine. Hasn't put a foot wrong.
No, not at all. But I'm loving this battle, second, third and fourth.
Martin has come in the lane in the number 4 machine, usually driven by Tony Ordino, but he's not in the car this weekend. He's racing in the National Sports Sedans instead. So Martin has taken control of that number 4 machine, but sadly that car has come into the lane yesterday. It suffered a puncture at turns 2 and 3, and it sent that car into the wall reasonably heavily, but fortunately only really cosmetic damage on that machine, and that's why it's back out there here today. Orjeski now coming under increasing pressure from Blake Harris. These two know each other well, and it's great racing between them out there on the race circuit.
Dan, Vaughan has just sliced that lead that Lindorf has by a second in this lap. He is on pace. The guy's on fire. He's hunting. It's hunting season, and Lindorf's a rabbit.
With 2 laps to go, a second a lap, he'll be right on him at the end of this race. We could be set for a thriller in the closing stages of this one. But at the moment, they're still separated by 2.5 seconds as they come into turn number 1. Or lock up from Jeski. He's going to run out wide. No, he's done quite well. In fact, it was Blake Harris that was the one that ran wide.
Yeah, it's certainly not the time to go and get yourself a cuppa. I'd be sitting still and watching the end of this, because anything could happen right now.
Absolutely. As Jeski understeer again. That car, I think he might be coming under pressure. I don't think it's the car. I think he's coming under pressure. You can see that Falcon in his mirrors, and he just made a little mistake there. It's on between the title rivals out there at the moment. These two, first and second in the series, and they are third and fourth on the road at the moment. Another second was taken out of Lindorf's lead last time through. It's down to 1.5 seconds, but we are on the final lap of the race. Is it just a little bit too little too late from Vaughan, who, let's not forget, started at the very back of the grid?
Yeah, well, Vaughan's definitely stretched his legs away from Pridmore and Lowndes, so he's, 1 second a lap is a great pace, to be catching the leader. I was going to say Lindorf had a comfortable lead, but, I'm sure, I don't know. I just can't call it.
He looks even closer as they head up the back chute. Will Brett Tate play a factor? He's a wise head, is Tate. He'll see both of the leaders coming as they head over the top of the... Oh, this is spectacular. Lowndes. Oh, I can't believe what I just witnessed over the brow of the hill there. Lowndes was almost at a 45-degree angle with Karen Pridmore. The intensity of the championship rivals is well and truly lifted. There's more bumping. You can see the tyre mark on the rear corner of Pridmore. How they both kept in a straight line, I will never know. And Lowndes is going to send it back up the inside.
Oh, can he do
They
it?
are fighting hard here. There is pride on the line between these two. Up front, Lindorf holds on and takes the race victory by less than a second from Vaughan. And Pridmore holds on from Lowndes, but what on earth happened on the back chute? We just came to the camera shot with 2 cars facing at obscure angles running down towards turn number 7, and they both were 3 or 4 seconds slower on that final lap as Lowndes pulls to the inside. This is just remarkable. Lowndes trying to close the door, but Pridmore was very much there. I think there might be more to that than what we see there, and it continued for the remainder of the lap with Lowndes giving a little love tap there to Pridmore.
It's saying grudge match, Dan. Like, to have a 2-for-1 on Holdens through 3 turns is fantastic for us, but not necessarily for them.
No, that was quite something to finish that one. We say the saloons turn on the action. There was no shortage of it in that race. That was absolutely fantastic. The win going the way of Travis Lindorf, but from the back of the grid. Second place for the reigning Nationals champion, Brad Vaughan. Brilliant drive from him, fastest lap of the race, over a second faster than anybody else. Karen Pridmore coming home in third, despite that insane battle with Adam Lowndes on the final lap. Baxter Smith, a good recovery from him from 12th to position number 5. A very quiet race from Jacob Prestopino in position number 6. He finished quite lonely there, 6 seconds behind and 6 seconds ahead of those around him. DJ comes home in 7th, ahead of David Lyons, Kerry Bright, and James Jeske, another top 10 finish. He held off Blake Harris by a couple of seconds in the end. Justin Shembry coming home in 12th, ahead of Brett Tate and Keegan Gaunt. Andrew Martin, a non-finisher, along with Chris Jackson, David Whitehead and Sean Jamieson, did not make the start of that one. But the man to beat so far has been the number 51 of Travis Lindorf. It's 2 from 2. However, he has the reigning Nationals champion alongside him on the grid for this race. Oh, Jacob Prestopino in the 99, as he always does, throwing it sideways to warm up the tyres. Big field once again in this race. As I say, Lindorf from pole, alongside him the reigning Nationals champion and current Super 2 Series driver in Brad Vaughan. Karen Pridmore will be in position number 3, the championship leader, and alongside him is Adam Lowndes. Those two had a bit of door banging up the hill here on the final lap of the last race. Baxter Smith will come out of position 5 alongside the ever-entertaining Jacob Prestopino. Daniel Johnson out of 7th. Alongside him is South Australian Dave Lyons. In fact, I think Lyons has gone home, so there'll be an empty slot there. So it'll be Bright and Jeske on row number 5, ahead of Blake Harris and Justin Shembry. Beyond that, we have Brett Tate, Keegan Gaunt, Andrew Martin, who suffered another puncture in the race earlier on, will come out of 15th. Alongside him will be Chris Jackson. And then hopefully we see David Whitehead back out there on the race circuit. Sean Jamieson has already headed home back to South Australia. A challenging weekend for him, ending during qualifying. There is the weather. It's pretty warm out here at Sandown, which is not what we expected, but it's certainly a welcome surprise, that is for certain. I'm Dan McCarthy, alongside me for this one, as she has all weekend long. It's Emma Dean.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, the weather's surprised us, hasn't it? We were supposed to get thunderstorms, lightning, rain. We may get it at 3 o'clock, but these guys will well and truly be off track and packing up by then.
Well, it's 2:15 now. I don't think it's going to happen by 3. I don't see it at all now. I don't want to predict things with weather, though, but anyway. On the front row then, the black and white Commodore. On the right is Travis Lindorf, and on the left is Brad Vaughan. And as well, Brad Vaughan marched through after the gear lever fell out in his hand in race 1. He came from the back of the grid in race 2 to finish 6th. And he had a jolly good look up the inside at Lindorf at the final corner as well to try and take the lead. But he couldn't quite do it in that earlier race. This time, though, he has 13 minutes plus 1 lap on the clock to do it. And he's made a brilliant launch. Great start from the number 85 down towards turn number 1. The reigning Nationals champion is already in front. In fact, Lindorf made a poor start. He's going to come under pressure straight away from Lowndes on the outside and Pridmore on the inside. Lowndes takes P2. Oh, Baxter Smith follows him through around the outside. Great start for Baxter Smith. Always a strong starter, and no difference there. Already up to 3rd. Lindorf shuffled back to position number 4, ahead of Pridmore. Then we've got Prestopino and Johnson in the bright yellow machine as they head down the back straight. Bit of a poor exit there for Baxter Smith. Lindorf moves to the inside on the run. Up the back straight, over the crest, into the highly committed turn number 6. Oh, Baxter Smith trying to not give Lindorf a side draft, pulled all the way over to the right and closes the door on him. Oh, that was really tight between those two veterans of saloon car racing. They get away with it. Baxter Smith goes defensive down into turn number 1, and in fact Pridmore's going to fill that gap. The intensity's lifted early in this one.
It has indeed, Dan, and there's a little bit of a rumour going on in the garages that Vaughan might be going for a track record.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, with the new right rear tyre that's been fitted to that machine, he's going to absolutely go for it. He told me just a few minutes ago when I spoke to him in the lane, yeah, I'm going to go for it. So let's see what he can do as this race goes on. They're heading down towards turn number 1. Look at this, Baxter Smith, the mirror's been damaged. He can't see out of that side, but that's all right. He's going for a move up the inside. Oh, these two fighting really hard. Lindorf's got to be careful on the rejoin. Pridmore was nearly in the middle of them. Prestopino's going to pick up the pieces. He gets up the inside of the number 66 machine. And Baxter Smith can't see any attack on the inside of him now with his left mirror damaged. They get right up close to the wall, particularly Daniel Johnson there. Oh, awesome stuff early on in this race. The gloves are well and truly off, but that's allowed Vaughan and Lowndes to break away at the front, and the fight continues between Baxter Smith and Travis Lindorf for position number 3, and it's Lindorf at the moment as they head over turn number 6 and down into Dandenong Road. Such a tricky sequence, this one. Easy to lock a brake while you're slithering down the S's into the legendary Dandenong Road corner, and there is a gravel trap there to catch you as well. Prestopino's looming large, and he's looking to the inside. Headlights ablaze. Can't make it stick there into the penultimate sequence of corners, but he's got a lovely run out of the corner, and he'll try and set Baxter Smith up for a move down the pit straight into turn number 1. Further back, Pridmore, the championship leader, has gone backwards so far in this race. He's under pressure from Daniel Johnson. DJ had some issues in the last race. He was full throttle, but not getting full power. The car was telling him he was at 100% throttle, and he was only getting about 70% throttle, he reckons. So it's costing him quite a bit of straight line performance. So hopefully that has been resurrected. It looks like it has, because he's able to keep up with this very fast bunch. Pridmore on the power, slides it out sideways. That'll affect his run up the back chute. But at the moment, out front, Vaughan is leading the way, a 125.4 last time through.
Yeah, the garages were certainly busy in between races with DJ. He's been working so hard on that car. Every time I've gone to have a chat to him, he's been unavailable and underneath it. So hopefully everything's sorted. He doesn't look like he's suffering much out there. The conga line of Holdens and Fords is so exciting in this. And how wide can Baxter Smith make that Falcon?
As wide as he possibly can. He's a great driver and a great personality to have in the category. Great to see him returning to saloon cars in recent times, and the mistake from Pridmore out of turn number 4 cost him up the hill, because DJ has gone through. The fierce battle pack is slightly dispersed, slightly separated in the last couple of laps. Lindorf's got back through on Baxter Smith, and now he's got his good mate Adam Lowndes in his sights. The margin between those two, 1.7 seconds, as Vaughan up front at 124.8. He's aiming for a high 22 in this race for a lap record. So he's a bit away from that at the moment. But he was saying to me, this is not like a supercars type, but in terms of phasing, you can't go too hard too early, or else you'll overheat it, and then you'll have no tyre life. It'll just be sliding all over the shop at the end of the race. So you've got to take it easy in the first couple of laps, get the tyres up to temp, and then you can attack it. So he says it's similar to a supercars tyre in that sense.
Not to mention the high UV at the moment, not to mention the track is warm. We're in the middle of the day, so you've actually got to nurse the tyres a little bit more as well.
Absolutely, yeah, good point. Yeah, the UV is at its highest, and the temperature is at its highest of the day so far. DJ got through on Pridmore last lap, but he's coming under pressure from the series leader already. It's the final sequence of corners as Vaughan goes across the line. He's extending that margin lap upon lap as Lowndes and Lindorf are nose to tail across the line down towards turn number 1. Here they are, number 19 and number 51. Here comes Lindorf, late on the brakes, up the inside. He's got that done very nicely. In fact, he made that look easy. Oh, Blake Harris has stopped up the back straight. It's been a challenging weekend for the youngster, just lacking a little bit of straight line speed, but that has come. His car's come to a grinding halt out there on the racetrack. One of the leading Ford runners Ford's not had the best of weekends in terms of results. It's been a bit of Holden dominance, really, and they lock out the top 3 spots at the moment. The leading Ford is Baxter Smith, and the second Ford is Daniel Johnson in position number 6. But can Lowndes go with Lindorf now that the 51 has found its way ahead and into second position? Can Lowndes go with him? I'm not sure at the moment. In fact, Baxter Smith's vying into this now. Look, the ever-looming number 56 of Kane Baxter Smith.
Indeed, Dan. Tell me, Dan, what is Brad chasing in terms of the record?
I'm not sure on the exact number, but I know it's comfortably inside the 22s. So he's coming down a little bit at the moment, but yeah. I think he did a low 23 in the last race, but 22, a high 22 is what he would be aiming for. He was the second clear of the rest of the field in the race earlier on today. At the moment, he's lapping about half a second faster than Lindorf's. Look at this, Baxter Smith makes that look easy, breezes past on the pit straight in before the braking zone at turn number 1. So Baxter Smith now into the top 3 positions. Nicely done from him, but he'll be ruining his tyre delamination in yesterday's race. He was sitting in second with just 2 laps to go. The tyre deflated. He lost rear brakes. The rear brakes weren't working so much. All the braking was being done by the fronts. He locked up severely down at Dandenong Road. That led to a delamination and meant that he crawled around on the final lap and fell from second to 12th position. He recovered from 12th to 5th earlier and now is up inside the top 3. Look at this, Daniel Johnson is closing in on the tail of Jacob Prestopino, and he's dragging along Karen Pridmore with him as well. And Pridmore and Prestopino, the 2 Ps, are very aggressive drivers. So if those two are on the racetrack together, they always have a good battle. DJ giving a little bit of a nudge there to Jacob Prestopino. Of course, they had a little bit of a, not a coming together, but Prestopino certainly didn't leave DJ with any room on the outside of the track earlier on in the race. So that might be a little bit of a, oh, don't worry, I remember what happened earlier on. So I think we'll call that 15 all now between DJ and Jacob Prestopino. As they head around turn number 1. DJ, is he going to have a look at turn number 2? He's certainly having a good think about it. Sticks it up the inside. Oh, lock up, bit of contact. There's certainly some contact there, but they get away with it just fine. Prestopino didn't really need to steer out of that or anything. It was the slightest of slight touches, but it certainly affected DJ's run over the next sequence of corners and potentially up the hill. And the number 99 is just on the tail. Here's Lowndes, though, now on the back of Kane Baxter Smith. So although Baxter Smith got through, the number 19 has remained with him. But this is the fight we're looking at the moment for position number 5 on the road. You were saying that Jacob Prestopino, you just love watching him drive the car.
Prestopino and Kane Baxter Smith, I find them really entertaining. Not for lack of talent, they've got a lot of talent, but the guys don't leave anything on the track or anything in the tank, I should say. They really give it everything and make sure that everyone knows they're right behind them or right next to them.
Speaking of not leaving anything in the car, it's lucky there's nothing in the brute of Karen Pridmore's machine, because the boot is popping open. I saw it a couple of times coming out of Dandy Road and around the final sequence of corners. I'm not sure if it's shut itself now with the bumps around the Sandown racecourse. We'll keep a close eye on that, but Prestopino defends at turn 1, locks up, runs wide. A mistake there from the youngster, forced into the error by Daniel Johnson. And around the outside goes all the boot popping up once again on the number 6. See, this is a DRS for the Holden Commodore out there, using DRS, the boot reduction system, the BRS we'll call it, down the back straight. It'll certainly be affecting straight line speed if it pops up, but you can see as he's in a straight line, it goes back down again as the aero is pushing that down. As soon as he gets to a braking point, it comes back up again. So it's doing exactly what DRS is designed to do. So his BRS system working nicely out there at the moment. Prestopino fighting hard to hold on to 6th place. And he goes around the outside. Awesome stuff. There it is, the BRS system. If any other saloon car competitors are watching, maybe take Keren's advice. Install BRS in your Holden or Ford.
Perfect distraction for anyone behind him as well.
Yes. They can't see anything. All they can see is a boot.
Waiting to see more of the tactical little nudges coming into turn 13. It's a great place to give someone a little kiss and an off.
It certainly is, absolutely. It's a tricky sequence of corners, that one, because you can go in hard at the first part, but then that sacrifices the second, doesn't it?
It's quite misleading. It really is, especially when you're out there. You think you're home and hosed, but then you've got a nice little turn here, and it's hard to control sometimes, especially when someone's filling your mirrors.
Absolutely. So this is the fight between James Jeske and our visitor from Western Australia, a lot further than New South Wales, all the way from WA. Martin, a regular in West Australian Saloon Cars competition. And I was chatting to him before. Unfortunately, he's been plagued with tyre delaminations all weekend long. Hopefully this one he can get through without that same occurrence. I said to him, you've had great speed. He said the car's an absolute rocket, but unfortunately with the tyre delaminations, it's just not shown in the final results.
And the racing has been so competitive that the amount of times they're going 2 or 3 in a conga line across those ripple strips or across the chicanes, it's even worse, but you have to do it. You have to stay ahead, and this is where it comes down to. You can't just be a good steerer, a good positioner. You also have to manage tyres.
Yep.
So it's a real issue for these guys. His front bumper on the left is slightly loose there on the right way. Falcon.
Oh, good pickup. Yes.
Hope that doesn't affect the tyre there.
I think that's from the incident down at turn number 3 yesterday, so still a bit of bodywork damage on the side of that car we could see down there into the final sequence of corners. The leader is starting the penultimate lap of the race and leads by 7.8 seconds. A little bit wide there from Jeske, who's looking for another top 10 result. It's been his best weekend in the saloon cars to date. A PB in race number 1, position number 7 for him. Backed that up with P9 earlier on today, and he's going to be demoted though here to position number 10, but nevertheless, oh no, he's fighting back. Great late braking move from the South Australian, from Tintinara, holding off the number 4 machine of Martin. He's another one who's made a big track. So 2 interstaters come down for the Victorian Championship and are having an absolute ball.
Absolutely, totally, Dan. I'm happy to report Brad Vaughan has stretched out a 7.8 second lead on Lindorf, and he's currently sitting on 1 minute 23 highs. So I'm not sure if the UV and the current weather conditions will allow him to go as fast. It probably needs a bit of cold air.
Yeah.
But he's stretched that lead out beautifully. It's now at 8.6. So fantastic lead for Brad Vaughan, kind of seamless drive.
You hit the nail on the head. They said UV could play a factor. The conditions this morning were perfect pretty much.
10 a.m. is record time.
Yes, correct. Absolutely. Absolutely it is. You're bang on there. 10 a.m. is the perfect time for lap records. Oh, Lowndes' car's just gone past, sounding as sick as a dog. Lowndes has dropped down to position number 7. He was 7 seconds slower on that last lap through, so it's not been a great day or a great end to the day for Adam Lowndes. He's currently second in the round points. Can he hold on is the question. Will he lose any more positions? Kerry Bright, Jeske and Martin will be trying to hunt him down on what is the final lap of the race. And this driver here races for Tickford in the Super 2 Series. He's the reigning Saloon Car Nationals champion, and in a couple of months' time, he'll be making his debut in the Bathurst 1000. This kid is a real talent. He's ragging it around the final couple of corners. It's been a challenging weekend, but it ends on a high for Brad Vaughan. He takes a dominant race victory in the end. 11 laps the race distance, and his race victory margin in the end was, I'm just seeing as Lindorf crosses the line, the timing's gone down just in front of us on the little laptop. So the margin is 10.2 seconds, I'm hearing from Shane Rogers in my ear. Thank you very much, Shane. So 10.2 seconds in 11 laps. That is some going.
That is a cracking pace. That's almost unheard of in racing. So we did witness something amazing, even if it wasn't a track record. great drive, seamless, lots of clean air, especially for bringing it home.
Yeah, absolutely. They continue for the back end of the top 10. Jeski's held on. Brilliant race between those two, but Jeski holds off Martin for 9th position. Great job there as Shembri comes across the line. I have to say, Shembri, a father in the last couple of weeks for the very first time. So I've got to say congratulations to Shembri, his wife, and newborn son Roy are watching on from home today on the Blendline TV screen.
Future motorsport fan.
He says, oh, my son's going to be a race driver. He said, I said, he's going to be better than you. He said, absolutely, he'll be better than me. So great news for the Shembri family there, as Brad Vaughan, as we see, taking the win by 10.2 seconds ahead of Travis Lindorf. Kane Baxter Smith coming home in a lonely 3rd position. In the end, they all spread out towards the end of that one. Daniel Johnson in 4th. He got the upper hand on Jacob Prestopino late on. Karen Pridmore couldn't quite get past. He finished in 6th. Adam Lowndes, unfortunately, some technical issues there robbed him of a solid top 5 result. He limped home in 7th ahead of Kerry Bright, James Jeski and Andrew Martin. Beyond that, it was the new father, Justin Shembri, in 11th, and Brett Tate rounding out the finishers in that one. Blake Harris, unfortunately, there he is at the top of the hill in his Falcon, coming to a stop. So I'm sure we'll see Blake back out at the next round.